Welcome to part 4 of banking, where we are going to start the check system. Don't forget to install the Pathfinder app. Link is in the description. So far, we've looked at the introduction, we've looked at the bank services and facilities, we've looked at types of bank accounts and other types of banks. Then we're going to take a look at the check system, and we're going to end with the central bank. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the different types of checks. Okay, but what is a check? A check is an unconditional order to pay a named person or company. What this simply means is a check is an order from someone instructing the bank to pay a specified amount of money to someone. Okay, that's what a check is. So when the bank receives that check, they know they have to pay someone some money. Okay, so let's take a look at types of checks. Okay, so the first is called an open check. Okay, so what is an open check? So this is a check which does not bear a specific name as a payee. A payee is a person who is supposed to be paid. So in an open check, there is no name that's written on that check. Therefore, anyone can be paid. Okay, there's no specific name written saying that this person should be paid. Okay, such a check is called an open check. So if you have this check and you lose it, okay, someone gets it, they can use it to get the money. Okay, so anybody that comes across this type of check can cash it over the counter. So the next type of a check is called the bearer check. Okay, so this one, it's a check made payable to a bearer. What that means is it is a check made payable to anybody who is to present it to the bank. So if you have that check and you present it, then you are the one who's going to be paid. So the difference between the bearer check and the open check is when it comes to the open check, there is no any specific condition attached to it. Okay, there's no any specific condition attached to it. But for the bearer check, there's one condition: the person who presents it to the bank is the one who is going to be paid. Okay, so in both types, there is no name of the person who's going to be paid. Okay, but the biggest difference is in the open check, anyone can be paid. Okay, whether it's the person who presents it to the bank or not. Well, in the bearer check, it has to be the person who presents it to the bank. Okay, so it is not a safe means of payment, since anyone who presents it to the bank would be paid. Okay, the next type is called an order check. Okay, so this is a check made payable to a named person or to his order. Okay, so in short, in the order check, there is going to be a name on the check, and that money has to be paid to the named person. So the order or instructions to the bank reads, that is what the check says. It says pay whatever the name is or order. Okay, pay James Candolo or order. Okay, so that's what's written on an order check. And the person who is going to be paid is Mr. James Candolo, whose name is written here. So this one is safer than the open check and the bearer check. Okay, as the bank checks the identity before making payments. So they will check, is this person who are about to pay the owner of this name? Yes, then they are going to pay. And of course, the only way the bank will know is if that person carries something like a passport or the green NRC or NRC. Okay. So the named person can transfer it by endorsing or signing at the back. Okay, so to transfer is where you want that check to be paid to someone else. So there's this check, your name is written there, but you want someone else to be paid. So in that case, you endorse or sign at the back of the check to say that another person should be paid instead of you. Okay, so here's the situation. You have been given a check so that you receive a payment. However, you don't want to receive the payment. You want to make sure that the payment goes to another person. So you have to sign at the back of the check. So next we look at a crossed check. What is a crossed check? Okay, so this is a check which is crossed. As simple as that. Okay, what does the crossing mean? When you see a check and it is crossed, what does it mean? So crossing a check refers to drawing two parallel lines down the face of the check. Okay, so two lines, when you draw two lines on a check, it means you have crossed that check. Okay, the purpose is that the purpose of crossing the check is to ensure that it is deposited into a bank account and not cashed across the counter. So when you get a check, you take it to a bank. Okay, you are supposed to be paid, right, from the types of checks that we've discussed. Okay, now for a cross check, you won't be given cash money. Okay, the money will be transferred from the payer's account to the payee. Okay, so money is just going to be transferred from the person who's supposed to pay to a person who's supposed to receive. So it's going to be transferred, the money is going to be transferred from one account to the other account. Okay, no cash is going to be given on the counter. Now there are two types of crossings. The first is called general crossing. So an example of a general crossing looks like this. So these are words that are going to be written there. Okay, account pay only. Okay, so what is a general crossing check? So it's a check. A check is said to be generally crossed if two lines are drawn across its face. Okay, the phrase account pay only, this account pay only, or and company or not negotiable may be added in between the parallel lines. So they may write account pay only, or they can write and company, or they can write not negotiable here. So when you see these three words in between the lines, just know that it's a general crossing. Okay, but what is a general crossing exactly? Okay, so the effect of general crossing is that the check can only be deposited or paid into a bank account and not exchanged for cash across the counter. So this is from the definition of check crossing, okay, which of course emphasizes on the fact that when you take this check, then you are not expected to be paid right there and then. The money is going to be transferred from the payer or the owner of the person who is supposed to pay to you. Now, money is going to be transferred from the payer's account to your account, okay, but you won't be given physical money. So the next type of check crossing is called special crossing. Okay, so it has two lines just like general crossing, and instead of having those three phrases, either account payee only, or and company, or not negotiable, there's going to be something like this: Blue Gum Bank Limited, Acacia branch. Okay, so what does this mean? So just like the general crossing, special crossing, so it's supposed to be special crossing here, not crossing with R. Okay, so special crossing also involves drawing two parallel lines on the face of a check, but the name of the base branch is written in between the lines. Okay, the name of the payee's branch is the one that is written. Okay, so what does this mean? What does writing the name of the payee's branch mean? It means that the check can only be paid into an account at the branch named in the crossing. So it's only this branch, at Asha branch, where the payment can be done for this check, not any other branch. Next, we look at dishonored checks. So this is a check that the bank has refused to pay. Okay, so on such a check, it's going to be marked RD. So RD means refer to drawer. Okay, RD means refer to drawer. What does it mean? Okay, so when maybe I buy something from you, then I decide to pay you using a check, so I give you a check. So what I'm just saying is go and draw money from my account, and that money you get it. So I am the drawer. I'm the one who wants my money to be withdrawn from my account. So I am the drawer. Okay, so now I give you that check as a drawer. You get that check, you go to the bank. Now the bank, after looking at the check, due to different reasons, they write RD on the check and give you back the check. Okay, they are saying refer to drawer, which means go back to the person who has given you this check and ask that person why we cannot pay you the money. Okay, so refer to drawer just says go back to the sender. Go back to the person who has sent you to come and get this check paid. Okay, that's what it means. So what are some of the reasons why a check can be dishonored? So the first is insufficient funds. There is no money in your account. There are some people who do that. I remember I was in one of the incident where someone was about to pay me, so they gave me a check and went to the bank and discovered that there was no money. So the check was marked RD, refer to drawer. Okay, so again, the signature may be wrong, so the bank cannot pay if the signature is wrong, as they may suspect that it is someone who is trying to steal money from the drawer's account. The other reason is mismatched amounts, words versus figures. So if on the check you write 200 kwacha in words, okay, then in figures you write 3 zeros, maybe you write 2000. So 2200 are different, so the check will be dishonored. Also, it can be post-dated or stale. That is, if the check has stayed for over 6 months, they have given you in January, then you are taken to the bank in October. So between January and October is more than 6 months, and because of that, the check is post-dated and they won't give you. Also, there could be an issue of a stop order or account closure or drawer's death, or the drawer has gone mad, the owner of the check has gone mad. In that case, no money can be withdrawn. Okay. So now, for the case of a stop order, the drawer can also, maybe they decide that you gave them, they bought a laptop from you, but that laptop is a fake product. So they can issue a stop order to the bank, instructing the bank not to have that check paid. Okay. Also, it can happen that the check has been altered or changed. Altered means changed. So it can happen that the check has been changed and the drawer has not countersigned against the alteration. So when there is a change on the check, the owner of the check, the drawer, has to sign to show that is aware of the change. Okay, therefore, if the drawer has not signed, then the check will be rejected. It can also happen that the drawer has closed the account. They give you the check, then they close the account before you reach the bank. The time you reach the bank, you find that the account has been closed. Therefore, the check will be dishonored. It can also happen that the bank has been notified of the death, insanity, or bankruptcy of the drawer. So I've talked of death and insanity, getting mad. So if the drawer dies, or the drawer has gotten mad, or maybe the drawer has become broke, then it can be difficult to pay you. Also, if a check has some mistakes, for example, the date is not written or it's not signed, then again you cannot be given or you cannot be paid. Okay, now looking at all the features of the check, the types of checks and all, what are the benefits? Why would people want to use a check? Okay, first, it is safer than cash. Okay, it is very safer than cash. When someone, for example, you're having cash in your pocket, when someone steals that cash, then they have won. But a check, you can inform the bank before they cash it out, so it's safer than cash. And also, it's very convenient and traceable. You can know who cashed it in and all. Okay, so that makes it better. Also, it reduces counting time, meaning that if you have 2 million on a check, it's just one paper, but the actual 2 million you have to count, so it's better than cash. Also, it provides payment records. Okay, because of the check, when someone pays you, it will be recorded that this was paid using this check. Also, it can be mailed when crossed. Okay, meaning that someone can send it from one point to the other. Okay, using the mail system. So next we look at the check clearing system. What is a check clearing system? So a check clearing system is a process that is used to settle interbank debts at the clearing house. Our clearing house is Bank of Zambia. Okay, so what are the purpose of the clearing house? The first is it is a central office where banks exchange checks and other financial documents. Before I can go any further to elaborate more on the purpose of a clearing house, let me just put things in perspective. Okay, you have a Zanaco account, right? Meaning that you have an account with Zanaco Bank, and Blugam Tuitions has an account with Absa Bank. So you, as Zanaco Bank, you want to make a tuition payment to Absa Bank, where Blugam account is. Okay, so how does it work? How do you transfer money from one bank to the other? That's where the clearing system comes in. Okay? So the clearing system makes sure that these things are resolved at the end of the day. Make sure that the money that Zanaco is supposed to pay, or the money that was supposed to be transferred from Zanaco account actually goes to the to the Absa account where Blugam has an account. Okay, so with that being said, another purpose is that it records interbank transfers. Okay, so it needs the record of all the money that was transferred between two banks. Okay, another function is it regulates the transfer of drafts and settlements between the banks. Okay, so when banks settle each other, then of course it's going to it makes sure that it regulates. If one bank says no, we won't pay, then that bank is going to be dealt with. Okay, therefore that's one purpose of the clearing house, to regulate the transfer of drafts and settlements between the banks. It also acts as a middleman between buyers and sellers. Okay, since I, as Blugam, I'm the seller, I'm selling tuitions, you as a buyer, I mean the bank is between us. You pay through the bank and I receive through the bank. So the banks are now connected through a clearing system. Therefore, it acts as a middleman between buyers and sellers. Okay. It also provides both efficiency and stability to the banking system they serve. Okay. So it makes sure that both it makes sure that the banks all the banks that use the clearing system are efficient and stable. Okay, so that's another purpose of a clearing house. So this marks the end of banking. See you in the last part of banking.